Hello, friends, and welcome to Hannoween. Oh my god. My kitschy, fun, silly little Halloween event that is specifically focused on my special interest, and apparently yours as well. If the algorithm brought you here, I hate to say it, but they want you to learn Irish history. I am so excited to have you guys watching this. Thank you so much for clicking on this video. Also, I just wanted to say a big thank you for all of the new friends who have come to join this channel, both on my Instagram and TikTok and here on YouTube. It's been an absolute fucking whirlwind, honestly. I didn't expect so many of you to be so excited about Halloween and Samhain and about the history of Halloween in regards to Ireland. So holy shit, it's so amazing to see you guys here. I truly did not expect such a warm response. And I think people were just excited that I said Samhain correctly and not Samhain.
Samhain. Am I supposed to be impressed?
So, that's also appreciated. Oh my God, it's been amazing. You guys are also responsive as well. You guys comment so much and I love it. And, that's the biggest bit is commenting. This is an educational channel and I'm learning as well as everybody else. So like hearing your stories and hearing your comments and about what you've learned growing up in Ireland has been priceless. It doesn't have a value. It's so important. So thank you for joining. Welcome to my little corner of the internet. It's very cozy here. We have knitting, we have debauchery. I brought biscuits, I think. So for those of you who are new in the room, hello, my name is Hannah. I'm originally from New York and I moved to Dublin in 2016. I also have an Etsy store where I put my knitting, my crochet, my sewing, my clothes, all up on that I make. And I also have a dog. So I think that's all my personality traits. Your turn. Good to meet you. Well done. Very nice.
Nice.
So without any further ado, grab your drinks, your knitting, your snacks, your pumpkin spice flavored Spam, and let's dive into it. On TikTok and Instagram, and even here when I can get my wordy ass in under a minute, I've been talking about more of the ghouls, goblins, monsters, and mythology side of Samhain and Halloween, and how most of the goblins, ghouls, and creatures that we have today in Halloween are usually just Irish folklore. But today we're going to be actually diving into the history of Halloween and how it is actually a Celtic pagan festival called Samhain. And then as we get closer to Halloween, there'll be a nice light video just about ghouls, goblins, monsters, that kind of thing, to explain all those fun Halloween costumes that have been perpetrating since our childhood. Halloween is the great-great-great-great-grandchild of Samhain, a pre-Christian, Celtic, and mainly Irish harvest festival that celebrates the incoming of winter. And this is at the end of October, beginning of November, because Ireland actually follows the Celtic calendar instead of the Gregorian calendar. It does follow the Gregorian calendar in terms of business and everyday life, but when it comes to holidays, the Celtic calendar is mainly used, meaning that the seasons are at different times. I'll put a picture here for you explaining the seasons. It did fuck me up because I just thought Irish people didn't know when winter was. Turns out it's just different over here. It caused a little bit of confusion when I got here. That's fine, because in America and most other countries that use the Gregorian calendar, winter starts somewhere around Christmas time. So why do I say great-great-great-grandchild instead of just Halloween is Samhain? Well, because like many other generational things like families, it's not just Samhain anymore. Halloween has been evolving over the course of thousands of years. Different influences and resources have affected it as it's gotten older, just like a generational influence would. Things like Dia de Muertos in Mexico, other harvest festivals in Europe, and of course good old-fashioned American consumerism have affected this holiday as we know it today. And Samhain was one of 4 major season change festivals in Ireland, welcoming in the winter and everything it represented. Death, transition, conserving warmth, and it was even now that it was considered a new year in the Celtic calendar because the dark half of the year was starting and the earth was kind of being reborn. I know I probably didn't explain that the right way, so just if there are any experts in the comments, go ahead and sound off. It was at this time in Ireland that animals were starting to get collected in, either for slaughter or for storage. Crops were being harvested, there were a lot of feasts going on, and people would do things like wrap up business and even inaugurate the new kings. And you know what? I kind of understand this because at wintertime, I can see why nobody wanted to actually do anything. It's cold. I don't want to do business and inaugurate a new king in the winter. We'll do it in Samhain and then we'll get it all done. We'll just sit inside and play Nintendo DS. Practices like making bonfires and throwing animal bones into these bonfires would do things like keep us together, keep things warm, and remind us of the kind of great mortality and cycle of living on Earth. Fun fact, casting bones into the bonfire might have actually started the word bone fire, which later became bonfire. It's important also to know that I only found one article backing this up, but I'm ready to stick a tricolor on it. Fuck it. A lot of these Samhain festivities would take place in an area called the Hill of Ward in County Meath. In Irish, it's called Clachta, named after a sun goddess who was the daughter of a druid. And it's actually still used today as a sacred site by neo-pagans during Samhain, which I think is just beautiful because, for a country that's had a lot of its culture intentionally tried to wipe out, for a country who's had its culture under the microscope and under pressure for so long. The culture itself was nearly wiped out. It's so amazing to see that like there is such a strong comeback and that people are absolutely working to keep it alive and have worked to keep it alive for thousands of years. It's just beautiful. There's a purposeful rekindling, which is important to note. From what I could find, also, this holiday may have actually predated the Celts coming to Ireland and might have been a Celtic holiday in other parts of Europe, and specifically in the Breton area of France, Wales, Scotland, and in some parts of England. But as this is my channel, you know we're already going to focus on the Irish part. So, Samhain. On Samhain, the veil between the world of the living and the world of the dead would be at its weakest, and spirits could come freely roam the earth. Which actually brings us into our first point of similarity between Samhain and Halloween, which is costumes. When creatures and spirits would visit Earth, people would want to avoid them as much as possible. And to be honest, I couldn't find specifically why. It seems like in holidays like Dia de Muertos in Mexico, people are more than happy to commune with the spirits, or to talk with them, or to make contact with them in some way. They leave out food, they invite them into their home, whereas in Ireland, they seem to want to repel these spirits or blend in so that no spirits bring them bad fortune. Now, whether or not the spirits could harm you or potentially bring you off to the world of the dead, I'm not entirely sure, which is a really big important part, but I couldn't find it anywhere. So let me know down in the comments if you know why people actively avoided spirits. Was this just to actively avoid death? Was there harm? Or could the spirits bring any kind of other bad fortune to you? Anyway, in order to avoid spirits, people would dress up like spirits so that they blended in. Can't get taken off by a spirit if you're already a spirit, which is pretty smart. People would dress up so this way the spirits wouldn't be able to tell who they were. I also saw somewhere that they would dress up like animals, but this seemed more like just a rumor to me. This was kind of word of mouth that I heard this. All of the academic sources I could find on this said that they would dress up as spirits themselves. And this is still one of the biggest things people do on Halloween. They dress up and they put on costumes. Not so much to avoid ghosties anymore, but more for likes on social media posts. Like myself. Okay, so just as a note as well, I'm going to be touching upon certain aspects of Samhain that relate to today's modern Halloween before getting into how it evolved into today's Halloween. So first we're going to talk about those cultural aspects that started with Samhain, and then we'll move into the evolution of Halloween, since they all kind of evolved at once together and not separately. Okay, so that's costumes. Next, lights. During Samhain, pre-Christian Celts would light large bonfires, and then they would light torches from those bonfires and bring them into their own homes and light their hearts, which is just so lovely because as it gets colder, we want that sense of togetherness and community. And I think that that's a really great symbolic way to do it. The bonfire is there for everybody and we can all take from it and use what we need. So nice.
That's nice.
Anyway, they would use these torches from the bonfire to make lanterns as well, to ward off the spirits and to guide the spirits back into the world of the dead. And these lanterns were made out of turnips. The turnips would be hollowed out and faces would be carved into them. Just to make it extra spoopy, I will be carving this one because somebody told me on TikTok that I'm not Irish until I've carved a turnip, and I'm willing to do whatever it takes. I'll probably carve the pumpkin too, but there's no promise on that one. I just kind of like the way they look like this. Okay, back you go. And this actually worked because if I was a spirit, I'd shit my spirit pants if this was coming at me. Look how creepy this thing is. I can't wait to carve this thing. I hope it looks fucking terrifying. Anyway, turnips became lanterns. Now, where is this going? You're saying, I get it, I see you. All the Irish people know where I'm going with this. All the Americans are like, turnips, is that the pumpkin? I don't get it. Let's talk about it. So there's a story in Ireland, and this is a story after the Christian takeover, obviously, the Christianization of Ireland. But the fact that it uses turnips in the story as lanterns tells me that this was widely known in Ireland to be happening for thousands of years. Turnips were lanterns during the time of Samhain. So the story goes as such. There is a man named Jack, and he's a bit of a dick. He's debaucherous, he's fraudulent, he steals, he's not a great guy. You don't want anything to do with him, he's trouble. He's such trouble, actually, that the devil hears about Jack. You can see that this is post-Christian because of the devil. And they go on to talk about hell and heaven. So the devil hears about Jack and says, well, I can't let this guy keep getting away with shit. He belongs in my realm of expertise. So the devil goes up to meet Jack, also called Stingy Jack. Jack meets the devil in a crossroads, and the devil says, hello, I'm the devil. I think. This isn't an exact retelling. I will list some places down below you can find this story better. But Jack says, okay, you got me. Devil, you got me. I'm a bad guy. I'm not that great. But please, let me just get one more drink. I'm going to the pub right now. I'm gonna get one last drink. I'll head with you to the gates of hell. You got my word. And the devil goes, I could use a beer, and follows Jack to the pub. Not very clever, our devil, is he? They drink, and Jack gets the devil just a little bit drunk, because apparently the devil can get drunk in this world. I don't know the rules. And he says, devil, Satan. I don't have any money. And the devil goes, that fits the narrative of what I heard. And he goes, devil, you should turn yourself into a coin so this way I can pay with you. And then once I've paid with you, just turn yourself back and then we could go. And the devil says, I can actually do that. That's a good idea. So the devil transforms himself into a coin. And Jack takes that coin and puts it in his pocket where there's also a crucifix, meaning that the devil can't turn back into himself. He's still a coin. So now he's got him for ransom. And the devil says, darn it, Jack. He says, take me out of your pocket right now. And Jack says, I can do that if you give me another year here on Earth. I'll let you turn back. And the devil goes, fine, just get me out of your pocket. You can have another year on Earth. Jack lets him go. The devil transforms back into himself and leaves for hell, leaving Jack another year on Earth. And now 1 year later, a man of his word, the devil returns and meets Jack at the same crossroads. He says, no tricks this time, Jack. We're going to hell. And Jack says, okay, no, you got me. I just wanted one more apple. Just one more apple from that old tree over there.
That's cute. I wish I could get it, but...
I think there's a biblical reference here. I don't know, I didn't read the book. And the devil says, are you fucking kidding me? No apples, no, absolutely not. And Jack says, oh, come on, please. You can't transform yourself into anything with an apple. I just want to pick an apple. The devil says, fine, but I'm getting you the apple. No funny business. Devil goes up the tree, grabs the apple, and Jack, while the devil is up the tree, scatters his crucifixes all over the ground surrounding the tree, meaning that the devil can't get down. And the devil's like, oh, Jack. And Jack says, I'll let you down as long as you never take me to hell. And the devil says, Jack, you're not going anywhere else. And Jack says, I won't let you down unless you promise never to take my soul to hell. And the devil says, fine. Jack lets the devil down, and the devil climbs down. And true to his word, he never took Jack to hell, but as Jack got older, the drink started catching up with him. He's not a very healthy guy. It came time for Jack to pass, so Jack passed away, and his soul went right down to hell. But at the gates of hell, the devil turned him around and said, nuh-uh, Jack, we had a deal. You're not coming in here. You can't come in here. Jack leaves, goes up to the gates of heaven, to which all the angels say, okay, Jack, okay, you play tricks with the devil and you think you're getting into here? 0 out of 10, you're out. Bye. So refused from heaven, refused from hell, Jack's soul was left to roam the earth for all of eternity, in limbo. And to light his way, the devil gave Jack a turnip lantern with an ember from the gates of hell ever burning in it, to light his way through earth. And he became known as Jack of the Lantern. Jack with the lantern, Jack of the Lantern. Which, of course, you can probably guess became shortened to Jack-o'-lantern. And that's how we get the term jack-o'-lantern. And as you probably guessed, the jack-o'-lantern went from turnip to pumpkin, but like I said, we'll catch on that in just a minute. You like my props? I got them at little. Next, trick-or-treating. A favorite pastime of every childhood is trick-or-treating. Going door to door, saying a one-liner, and getting free candy. Or sweets. Free sweets. I mean, come on. How easy can it get? But this actually started off as something called souling. And many people actually called it guising. And from all of the comments I got on Instagram and TikTok, this was also a practice in Scotland. And they still go guising today. And they don't call it trick-or-treating. And this does lead me to believe that this was, in fact, a Celtic holiday and not just an Irish holiday. Now, I wasn't entirely able to see if souling or guising was a pre-Christian practice. So I have heard from word of mouth from people in Ireland that it was, and that people would go door to door and pray or offer prayers for the dead of the people in the house. And I also read that people would leave out wine and food for the spirits. Take it and go. But I was able to see that after the Christianization of Western Europe, going door to door and offering prayers in exchange for small treats did become more and more common, because that's what souling is. Souling or guising is going door to door and offering prayers for the dead for the people in the house and getting back a little treat or some small cash. And one of the biggest seasonal treats that would be offered was something called a soul cake. Soul cake, a soul cake. A soul cake was a small, round, shortbread-like biscuit with spices and sugar and dried fruit in it. People still get really excited about dried fruit here as well, and I try to tell them that you don't have to do that anymore. Chocolate chips exist now, but they get so excited, and I just hate to see the little look on their face when I tell them we don't have to. Like Christmas cake and stuff, it all has raisins in it. Mince pies. Anyway, they get really excited about it. It's fine. And actually, speaking of Christmas, guising or souling was thought to have taken place during Christmas time as well. Specifically in Britain, I couldn't find any sources that said it would happen in Ireland, but I think specifically in Britain it did happen, which could have led to the practice of Christmas caroling. So Halloween and Christmas are more related than we think. Also, the word guising was short for disguising. Not bad. Not bad. Now, as promised, how did we get from prayers and bonfires and turnips and spirits to Harley Quinn and Kit Kats and pumpkin spice lattes? Well, God bless America, that's why. But let's back up. To get to today's consumer Halloween, we have to kind of follow the trajectory from Samhain to Halloween. During the Christianization of Western Europe, a lot of pagan holidays kind of morphed into Christian holidays. Now, it's important to note, I'm not an expert in this field, and I have no tangible proof that every holiday just got transferred into something Christian upon the rebrand. But it does make sense that if you already are used to a certain type of holiday, that you would make sure that it still fits with the new religion that's coming in. It would be more convenient for the church and for the people to be able to preserve old practices while celebrating their new religion. And so Samhain became something called All Saints' Day. The Roman Empire adopted Christianity in 380 AD, and Ireland followed shortly after in the mid-400s, which of course leads to the legends of St. Patrick and all that stuff. But that, my friends, is a spring video. And like I said, we do see a lot of holidays transitioning into Christian holidays. Things like the spring solstice and rebirth of new life, and the sun coming out for longer becomes the rebirth of the prophet. And an honoring of the dead in Samhain became an honoring of all the martyrs of Christianity in All Saints' Day. All Saints' Day was created by Pope Boniface IV in 609 to honor all the martyrs of Christianity. And it was originally in May. Like I said, with the transition of the holidays, I don't know if all of this is exactly one for one, but All Saints' Day was changed to November 1st in 731 AD by Pope Gregory III. And it's said that he did this because this was the day that he dedicated an oratory, a chapel in St. Peter's Basilica, to all the martyrs of Christianity. So in order to honor that anniversary, he continued to have All Saints' Day on November 1st. And another word for saint is hallows. So All Saints' Day became All Hallows Day on November 1st, and just like Christmas Eve and New Year's Eve, there became All Hallows Eve and Halloween. As you go. Jack-o'-lantern, Halloween. Ta-da! Now, I know you didn't come for the entomology lesson, so I didn't dive too much into that.
Hey, it's editing Hannah here, especially because the word is etymology, not entomology. The entomology lesson would have been the study of bugs, and etymology means the study of words. As you were.
So let's get to the good stuff. How did Samhain go from pagan ritual, Christian festival, to the candy-laden slut walk we see today? Don't get me wrong, I love a slut walk, and we need a good holiday for it. Halloween's the best we got. Well, immigration and the globalization of Irish tradition. As the Irish started traveling the world for reasons, they brought with them the practices they had known for generations. Like, of course, the old holiday of Samhain that was now blended with the new All Saints' Day. I guess it wasn't new. I guess Irish immigration really peaked in like the 1800s. And by that time, All Saints' Day had been around for about 1,000 years. So you get it. And actually, Samhain means November in Irish. So makes sense. Anyway, the Irish are moving and grooving. And they're winning over all their new countrymen with their charm and musical prowess. Just kidding. There was a lot of hostility towards the Irish at first. It was really bad. Of course, the Irish moved to America. And who did they meet in America that they immediately connected with? The Native Americans. These two groups found solidarity in many ways. They had both been colonized in their own home, both been treated like second-class citizens in their own home, and they had both had an outside colonizing force attempt to genocide both them and their culture. So they really found solidarity in each other. And there's a whole lot of history behind the Irish and the Native American relationship. I covered a little bit of it on my Instagram, but I think that that's a tale for another day. Anyway, the Irish meet the Native American Indians, and they get on like a couple of girls in a nightclub bathroom. And the Irish, not finding any turnips to make their jack-o'-lanterns with, were introduced to a new gourd, a seasonal, easy, tasty, hollow gourd that was actually really easy to make jack-o'-lanterns with. And it was everywhere this time of year. And hark, the pumpkin jack-o'-lantern was born. If you've seen my TikTok and my Instagram video on this, you'll know that it's my theory that it's because of the jack-o'-lantern that we get the pumpkin craze. Pumpkin goes from being a seasonal food like an apple or an acorn to a decoration, meaning people want to see it. Therefore, the craze gets bigger. Therefore, we don't have any turnip spice lattes. I'm sorry, little guy. It's not as tasty as a pumpkin, I guess. Okay, cool. So what about candy, costumes, and trick-or-treating? Well, this, my friends, is a mix, and it's not as consumerist-driven as you think it is. Because we see trick-or-treating as the evolution of guising and souling, and we can even see maybe candy being our cheap and effortless version of having a soul cake ready for somebody. And of course, the costumes are kind of the same. It's the same exact thing that we were doing in Samhain. Dressing up like spirits, dressing up like spooky things. But it just seems like Halloween got commercialized, didn't it? That the great American beast of consumerism got its grubby little paws on our pagan fun. But that's not the whole truth. Well, part of it, yeah, later on, but actually there's a big part that people are missing. In the Victorian era, Americans really loved Halloween. There used to be parties and cute little invitations, bobbing for apples, black cats, and stuff like that. It was actually pretty good fun if you were into it. But that wasn't all that happened on Halloween. It wasn't all just black cats and cocktails. A lot of it was mischievous pranks. And a lot of people would traditionally pull pranks on Halloween. And some of these pranks were harmless and good fun, but most of them were pretty bad and even dangerous. One account tells of a train driver on Halloween night in 1879 who was driving the train when all of a sudden he sees a body laid out among the tracks. He pulls the train into stop, and he gets out to check to see if the body is still on the tracks. And to his disappointment, it's not a body at all, it's a scarecrow. And a group of boys just a little bit further away start laughing and cackling and running away. And I don't need to tell you how dangerous this could have been. If he had gone over the body, he could have risked severely traumatizing himself and potentially killing somebody if he didn't know that it was a scarecrow. And by stopping the train, he put all of the passengers in danger. And I don't even really know the ins and out of coal-run trains, so can stopping abruptly be bad for it? Maybe. And not only that, if you stopped the train, it led for more opportunities for train robbers and cowboys to come around and do robber and cowboy things. But that's not even the worst that would happen. There would be vandalism, fires, and when cars were invented, people would make fake street signs to diverge traffic and even remove manhole covers so that cars kind of tipped into them. And then, of course, as a reaction, albeit a very American reaction, people would use guns and shoot these pranksters killing some of them. Oh, and by the way, that guy who shot the prank channel guy earlier this year didn't get convicted. And to be fair, who the fuck still runs a prank channel? Come on, man. People genuinely feared Halloween night. And especially during the 1930s and the Great Depression in the United States, it got so bad, people genuinely considered canceling it. Whole cities considered canceling it. And many did. There was property damage. But then it kind of dawned on them. If kids have nothing better to do on Halloween, then they're gonna play pranks. So we might as well give them something to do. City councils started funding things like little fairs and carnivals, and sponsoring people to turn their houses into more fun event type things for children, offering sweets and candy for going around doing the souling and the guising thing. And some houses were made into haunted houses. And all of a sudden, kids didn't want to do pranks anymore. They wanted to go get free candy and get spooked a little bit and have fun with their friends. So instead of setting things on fire, you can go get some free snacks. And this is where the term trick or treat came from. You could either trick the person and play a prank on their house or destroy their fucking property or something, oh my god, or you could get a free treat. And this was kind of an agreement on both sides. Trick or treat. You got the candy, I'll leave your house alone. You could either participate in vandalism, or you can give me a snack. And actually, during World War II, patriotism and support for the war effort were really, really high. And there were teenagers and children who vowed not to get involved in Halloween debauchery in support of the war effort. They didn't want to make a stressful and terrifying time even more stressful and terrifying by setting something on fire. And I'm going to quote one of my sites here, and I'll put it up here. Children in Pittsfield, Massachusetts vowed to back our fighting men by observing Halloween as they would want me to. I will share in good, clean fun and merriment. Fight against waste and damage. History.com. The tricks, of course, didn't totally end though, but they did get scaled down. Things like TPing people's houses or egging them, putting shaving cream on windows, you know, that kind of thing. I do have to mention Detroit, Michigan though. Detroit, Michigan still partook in the debauchery to the point where they called it Devil's Night, and people would leave town for it, particularly with arson. People lighting government buildings, garbage cans, cars on fire. And it wasn't until the 80s that this really started to calm down. People still proceed with caution though in Detroit. And if you're in Detroit, can you let me know what that's like at the moment? Are you still afraid of Halloween, or does this stuff still go on? And to be honest, you can probably fill in the blanks from here. Since Halloween became more of a children's celebration night and a fun thing, the consumerism slowly crept in. Hershey's, sweet companies, costume companies, Spirit Halloween, somehow continued to reclaim this holiday as its own. But what we as consumers can do is be smart. You don't need tens of thousands of new Halloween decorations every year. You don't need a 10-foot skeleton in your garden. Is it cool? Yes. But do you need new Halloween decorations every year? No. You don't have to believe what social media is telling you to buy and to do on Halloween. You don't need all the candy. You don't need all the alcohol. I mean, is that fun? Yeah, that's the most fun part about it. But if you don't want to partake in the consumerism of Halloween, you don't have to. Throw a little party, watch some cool movies, have some seasonal drinks. And I know the commercialization of Halloween can sometimes be a bummer, but you can't deny it is a lot of fun. And it came out of a place of wanting to make the world safer. It came out of a place of protecting other people from debauchery. And when it comes to costumes, you can make costumes out of clothes you already own, things you wore last year, or anything handmade. Crafty kids get it. So there you have it. From Celtic pagan season change festival to pumpkin spice costume party. In the next video, I'll be talking about ghosts, ghouls, goblins, all the fun monsters that you didn't know were Irish, or that the Irish people knew were Irish, and most other people don't know that they're Irish. Make sure to like and subscribe and follow me on all the social media platforms, or I will TP your house this Halloween while eating a soul cake with chocolate chips in it instead of raisins. Blessed Samhain, happy Halloween, and most importantly, happy Hannoween. Bye, guys.
Samhain.
Yeah. Good boy. Good job. I don't know if you guys can hear my stomach growling. It is horrendous.